Houston, we have a problem. This motor here, the shaft length, and from the, well, there's two issues here. Number one, the distance from where the top of the clamps onto the transom, the distance from there down to the water line needs to be to about this anti-cavitation plate here. This should be the final water line. Typically they say this should be the distance to the bottom of the hull, right here. Assuming you get up on plane, that would be the water line at that point. So the distance from here, where this thing rests on the transom, and all the way down to here, is the distance we need from the bottom of the boat to where it hooks on. Which on this one, this is too high and it's also too thick. For some reason, Yamaha has a 2.5 inch, I guess you could say, throat, and this is a 2 3/4. So I'm 1/4 of an inch too thick here, and I'm about 5 inches too tall for this shaft, for this Yamaha 8 horsepower. By the way, I just bought this 8 horsepower. It's a 2-stroke. It's not a short shaft, it's not a long shaft, it's like a medium shaft, or it might be a long shaft for 8 horsepower. I don't know. But to get the water line when we're at running, if we ever get up on plane in this thing, you got to have water sucking in to the cooling holes here. This is where it sucks in and goes in and cools the engine that squirts out here, squirts out this hole here. So this always has to be in the water. So the water line minimally should be here. Everybody, we have completed step, well, I don't know if step 1 or 2. Step 1 was laying it out, measuring everything and getting it to the right size. So step 2, we had to cut through the stainless steel. So I took the angle grinder with the cutoff blade right there and cut through everything. Cut through the stainless steel all the way from here, all the way around, and into the wood about maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch, and all the way across. So there's no stainless steel here. This is disconnected stainless steel wise. Now I will take my saber saw here, and this blade is roughly this same thickness. I hope it's pretty close to that, because I'm going to slide it down in here and cut all the way down to here. Then I'm going to cut all the way down to here. Then I have drilled, see these holes right here? Drilled through holes. So I can slide my saber saw blade in here and cut this bottom line here. And then this block comes out. Then we're at the right height. We're not at the right thickness yet, but we're at the right height. So we've got this guy, so he fits nice and snug all in here. I don't want to get too close. We kind of feel like we're zoomed in. Here, I've got it clamped here, and you see this blue line here? That's where I have to cut this, cut a little corner section out of this. The beauty is that my saber saw blade, when it goes down to the correct depth that we need here. So it's going to cut the right depth all the way as far as I can. I'm going to set it down here and just feed the blade in, and then run it as far as I can until I hit this wall here. Which the blade will stop about here. Same thing here. I'll turn it around, opposite, feed that blade in, and start cutting down here until the front of the saber saw hits this, the foot hits this, the toes hits this, basically a stop out here. The rest of this I'll chisel or use the angle grinder. It'll cut wood. It burns it, but it cuts it. And I've got it kind of rough here, so you can see how it's kind of rough, like saw teeth. So that I'll actually cut wood pretty good. So wish me luck, folks, because that's my next step, is to notch out that bottom 2x4. So Paradise out. All right, folks, we're getting into some action now. I'm going to notch this bad boy, so we'll see how smoothly this goes. It should go smoothly, but you never know. as I thought, but it worked. And every time it bumps, what it's doing, it's hitting one of these stainless steel screws coming in from the back. So if you're wondering why it kind of bumps up, it's hitting the stainless steel screw. Okay, so we're going to drop it back down in here. That's the proper depth. Okay, we're going to angle it again. So I got to lock the speed on here. So I don't have to manage the speed and that. Okay, so we successfully cut down to the depth that we need. You can't see it obviously because of this, but I need to take and draw a line and then take my angle grinder and cut through this wood here down to that line. And then we got to chisel this rest part here, this here, and this little part and this part. So we'll cut this part out, slice this, take this out, and then chisel the rest. Go to manual labor on that one. So let me mark this to the correct depth, and then we'll be back with more chopping, sawing, epoxy, and stainless steel, folks. Then we'll have a transom. Paradise out. Okay, folks, we're at the moment of truth here. We're going to pull this little chip out here that we cut and ground and chiseled a little bit. Let's see if we can. Ta-da, there she is. Okay, so now all we got to do is take the chisel and clean her up. There. Clean all this rough stuff up. And honey, you want to go get So-So's wide chisel? Okay. So-So, the boat builder guy, has a really sharp one, and it does a great job. So that's why we're going to borrow his and clean all this up. So paradise out. Okay, folks, we're ready for feet. And I picked this big boy up and slapped him on here by myself. Let's see. Whoa, look at that, folks. Look at that. Now, I've got it approximately centered here, so we should be. I got to screw these in quite a bit. I need to oil these. WD-40 is good because it's a water displacement oil. It'll keep the, it'll stay on there even though you're in the ocean. Yeah, these definitely need some lube. I have some lube at WD-40 at the house. The thing too, I may need to take this down another 1/4 inch to give us plenty of room for these little pads to, for this engine to set on the top here, and the pads to not bump this. So I may have to shave another 1/4 inch off. Okay, that. Yeah, I do need to. Okay, so there we go. Engine is mounted. Now the test is, see, on the width of this, and like I said, this is not centered. I should move it that way a little bit more. But if I need to turn, there must be a pin in here somewhere keeping this thing from turning. This in here keeps it from. Okay. No, this locks it so it doesn't lift. Okay, well I got to figure out where the pin is to let this thing turn. Because it's not turning for me, so we will be back after I find the turning pin. Paradise out. Hey, people. Look what we got. We got her all notched out. Everything is all done. I chiseled it all out. Then after I chiseled it, I took that grinder and kind of smoothed it out, and also got the thickness right, or as right as I could get it here. So now we're going to make the stainless steel. So again, the stainless steel is going to start here. I don't know if you can see this. Is that right side up? Start here, go up here, over here, and down, all the way down to where the plywood is here. And then we'll epoxy all this and seal it on the sides and stuff. So that is where we're at. Oh, and here's the stainless steel. And again, we're using this upside down, but 304 grade stainless steel. 1/2 millimeter thickness here. It's good stuff. And this is the protected side. So it's got that little plastic film, and this is the other side here. So it's all shiny. We're gonna cut this. And then, oh, by the way, this happened to just be 20 inches, and we need 19 7/8. So we got to shave an 1/8 of an inch off of here when we're done cutting this section. I'm going to measure this one more time because that looks like too short of a piece, but actually we don't have much of a transom left, but what we got, we're loving it. So we will measure this one more time and then cut that. Measure twice, cut once. Ta-da. Here we go. Paradise out. All right, everybody. Finally, we got everything to kind of match up. We got the depth equal here, depth here. Got the correct length here. We got the correct width here. All the way it's 1 3/4. And we got the right height here, 4 inches from here to here. And we've transferred that to here. This is the first step from here to here. This is the top section here. And this is the back section, drop down back here. So we're good to go. So we got to take this down to the sheet, to the welder, the TIG welder guy. He's got a brake, and he'll just bend it across here and across here. That's it. That's all we got to do. Bend that there. And we're good to go. And then we'll come up back here, and then it's epoxy time. Epoxy and screwing all this stuff in. And nailing, doing some nailing, a couple of nails over here. Some screws are going to be where the stainless is. And a couple of nails here and here, diagonally kind of angled here. And the rest is epoxy, I guess. So this will wind up being like a solid piece here. All this gap will be filled in with epoxy. Everything will be filled in with epoxy. So it should be golden, folks. It should be golden. So let's see how that turns out. And again, I got to go to the sheet metal, or to the stainless welder guy, and get that bent, and then we'll be back with putting that on. We'll see what happens. Paradise out. All right, folks, we got the water line about where we want it. Actually, a little bit deeper than what we wanted. This would basically be the water line here, and we're about an inch and a half below that. And so we got plenty of water here, and we can raise this engine up just simply by cutting a little piece of wood like this and laying it on top and setting it back down. That'll raise it an inch, whatever we want to raise it, 1/2 inch, 3 inch, to make any adjustments we need to make to it. So we are good to go. You see the stainless here? Fits on here nicely. You need to be sure to not get it too fat with epoxy. We got to drill these in and get these tight so that it doesn't go beyond 2 inches. Because our throat here is 2 1/4 right here, in this bracket that you clamp it with, 2 1/4. So as long as we got 1/4 of an inch, gives us pretty wiggle room, easy to put it on and take it off. So we're fancy, folks. We're golden. So we got to take all this off and epoxy it all and put screws in and do all the stuff that we need to do, and then we'll be golden. So we will be back with more in my paradise. I've been telling you another one. Our transom project is almost done. It is transom time here, folks. So we got it all done. We epoxied it, and again, I could have videoed more, but oops, that's not good. A little smear spot here. I don't know. Maybe electrical cord when I was cutting stuff. Yeah, rubbed on this. But you get your finger wet, and you can smooth this stuff out, and it won't stick. So I just had to cut the longer bolts off of here. And when I did, I dragged the extension cord over this, and it's still wet, so it kind of goobered it up a little bit. I'll have to come back and smooth that out. But anyway, you saw how you do it with a wet hand. Just get your hand wet and then smooth it out. Also, we got to clean this off too. So if you get your hand wet and you still got a little bit of wet epoxy on here, you can clean it all off. Otherwise, it's going to be a bear, because that epoxy is epoxy. Even though it's real thin, it's epoxy, and it's got to be cleaned off. So we got this made. This is done. All we're waiting for now is for the epoxy to dry, and we're covering the screw heads with the epoxy. This is the inside view here of it. So oops, that's kind of zoomed in too much. Yeah, about right there. So we have got the transom done, and the motor should mount on there just fine.